I'd ran and I was back from the party and we were all going down the road and I get this tap on my shoulder from this balaclavaed man asking, what have you got for me? And I turn around, pretty half cut at this point, drinking, and say nothing, fuck off. And I just get hooked around the face. And from there, 10 minutes of just pure violence. I was getting kicked the shit out of for 10 to 15 minutes. My friend was screaming, "You're going to kill him, stop." I had to keep getting back up, keep getting knocked down. And it felt like I was literally in the Matrix and it was never going to end. Time literally froze. I was heading to a house party in college. I was around 17 at the time with 3 friends from college. We'd been friends for a few months. And we were drinking, excited to go, walking up the country road. It was quite a big house, just tucked away out of the town. And yeah, we weren't really invited, but you know, it's a college party. They all get around the college, and a lot of the time, it doesn't matter if you're invited. Let's be real. And we went there. So we got to the party, and it was like manic. It was getting to that point where it was all gonna fall through, and everyone was gonna have to leave. But we enjoyed it for the time that we had, and then everyone was getting kicked out. It was all the girl was getting all upset who'd thrown it, and you know it was time to go. And I was wearing a white fluorescent jumper, just for context, because it'll make sense as the story unfolds. And my friend just unknowingly decided to dash a bottle at the house when we were leaving. And it happened so quickly, so we all just had to leg it, and I was the slowest one. And I was wearing this bright white jumper. Now, we're walking up the country road. Everyone's getting kicked out of the party. It was a bit of a party walking up the country road back onto the high street. Everyone was having a good time, laughing, joking, haha, lots of fun. And then I get a tap on my shoulder. I look round, and it's this balaclavaed guy who goes, "What have you got for me?" And I turned around. I've been drinking all sorts. I think it was whiskey. I turn around, pretty pissed, and I go, "Nothing, fuck off." And that was probably the biggest regret I've got. And after that, I got hooked to the face, right hook clean, and I was on the floor. And for 10 to 15 minutes straight, it was like a pack of wolves. And they just were kicking the absolute shit out of me. Now, it took me about 2 minutes to really compute what was going on. It was the most surreal thing I've ever experienced. And time completely stopped. And it was pure violence. And my friend was screaming, "Stop, you're going to kill him." Other people were filming, but I kept getting back up again, again, and again, swinging, trying to defend myself, but I was the only one that was getting targeted. And these people were enjoying it. There was about 10 to 15 of them. This one ringleader who was just insane, who was just shouting at me like, in 15 of them, absolute pussies, all ganging up on one person, all getting their little punches, enjoying it, having a great time. It finally came to an end, and I was livid. I've never felt that angry in my life. It was like an emotion you can't really describe. I don't know if it was anger, but it was just, it was crazy. So we then gather ourselves, carry on walking, and we're just filled with adrenaline, pumped up. You know, this is a feeling like I've never felt before. And we find there's a few guys standing outside a pub, and we tell them what's happened, and we bring them with us for, protection. We're just idiots as well. Like, we're amped up, like this has happened. It hasn't sunk in. It's just pure adrenaline. And we're still drunk, and we're still like, in that moment. So everyone's like gathered at this park, and everyone's asking us, oh, what happened, this and that. And we then hear shouting, and it's the same gang of people. And it starts again, and they're basically asking who's called the police, because there are sirens going off. And it's just this whole big kerfuffle, this big, just no one's trying to hear anything. It's just round two. And all three of us knew that. There's no talking that's going to save it. And my friend, he was trying to make his point, we didn't call the police. It was a dad, because it was the dad of the party that called the police, because it just got out of hand. There was like 200 people there. And my mate, push came to shove, and he was kicked on the floor, and they were just kicking him on the floor, and he had to make an escape. Completely fair enough. And there was a car with someone, and they just fell into the car because they were just getting literally just ambushed by this group of thugs. So they got into the car, and then it was just me on my own. So that car had made off, and it was just me. It was just me, and it was all of these bloodthirsty pack of wolves, is how I'm going to describe them, because that's what they were. And one of them's balaclava, just eyes like pinged open. What have you got for me? No, not that. That was the first round. It was, why you been talking? Why you been talking? That kind of person. And his friend was like, just calm down. He hasn't called the police. Like, you can tell, like, he's being honest. You can tell. He's like, no, fuck that. Bang! Ah! Ow! Bang! Oh, right hook straight to the face. I was back on the floor, and it had started all over again. And it was this kid. He was the ringleader of it, and he was the one that they'd all get behind, and he'd be the one properly shouting. He was the smallest out of them, but yeah, I don't know. I was back on the floor, just getting beaten, kicked, spat on, and that was it. They'd had enough. Like a pack of hyenas, they all flocked off, and that was it. And it took a while to sink in. I was still full of adrenaline, taking pictures, sending it to my friends. Like, I've just been jumped. But it was a crazy experience. And the pain the next morning was just horrible. My nose was broken. I still can't breathe out of it. And I've tried to get surgery, and I've had surgery, and it didn't work. So I want to get that sorted at some point. But yeah, I was in bits the next day, just physically. And I had to go into college on Monday. And these so-called friends had switched up. They were just acting weird. They didn't want to be around me. They weren't answering my messages. And 2 weeks later, they'd both left the college. One had gone to a football academy. The other had just moved away. Never heard from them ever again. And there was this tension because a few of them, a good 5 of them, I'd say, who were a part of the beating, were at my college. And they were acting like completely different people, acting like it never happened. They're just kind of, it's just this weird tension. You kind of catch them looking, but it was just, because these boys they're tapped. They're not right in the head. They're just gang scumbags who will enjoy acting like in a pack and just enjoy violence for the fuck of it. So I just, just life moved on. I mean, my mum heard about the news and almost passed out at the wheel. And it was just this big effect. And yeah, I mean, I shouldn't have answered the way I answered when he tapped me on the shoulder, but you know, these events, they're written, and they're extremely spiritually transformative, because these events aren't an accident. They are divine, and they're given to you with true purpose. And what it does, or what it's taught me, is that we have stuff already inside of us, and these events just confirm it for you in your conscious reality. And these violent, horrible events are really special, because no one else has lived that but me. And events like this, or similar to this, that have happened in your life, are completely unique to you and your character development and spiritual transformation throughout this life. They are divine and they're special. They're no accident. And it revealed to me that I've got a warrior spirit inside of me, because I got up every single time I got hit and kept swinging back. And I'm still moving forward today. That's divine. That is cracking open your soul, that's unshakable, infinite and unmovable. Because in that moment, it was just me and that moment. And it showed me what I'm made of. The nature of life, that when you're stripped back in a way like that, that's so defining, it really, truly allows you to connect with your true essence, your soul. And they're sacred, because no one else has experienced that the way I experienced it. And no one else has experienced it the way that you've experienced it. And they're not random, these events. They are divinely placed within your life. Catalysts for massive spiritual growth.